Welcome to the Dance to Heal podcast. I'm your host, Jenny C. Cohen. Join me as I share stories of how life is a dance. I'm a cancer survivor, mother of two, and an award-winning performer who found that mind and body-connected movement is vital to healing in a way that is safe and tailored to your life. I created Dance to Heal Wellness featuring the Spotlight Confidence Formula and also authored the best-selling award-winning book, Outside In Recovery, Dancing My Way Back to Myself After Breast Cancer. I will bring new ways to help you on your dance journey and healing path. Are you ready to move? Dance to Heal starts now. So if you set yourself, even to start with, a week where every day you write about 2,000 to 5,000 words about some thought, and then start to see if there's a correlating theme around that. That could be a way to try. What's another way they could try to just start writing, Kelly?
Well, I'd say it depends too if they're trying to write nonfiction or fiction, because those are very different processes. And I'm guessing a lot of your audience probably would lean nonfiction,
I think
but I
everyone
don't
is
know.
open to
Yeah.
anything, Kelly, because
Um,
um, just by you illustrating the backstory of your book, that's very healing.
oh, thank you.
Mhm.
Um, but there's so many different ways to start. I mean, the overarching everybody has to do it thing is you got to sit down and write. And I can't tell you how many memes there are about authors saying, "What do you mean I have to actually write the book?" And thinking, what is that? Um, but I'm a fiction author. I haven't written nonfiction, so mostly I can only speak to fiction. But I'm also, are you familiar with the terms plotter and pantser?
No, but tell us, what does those
Okay.
mean?
Okay, so a plotter is someone who outlines really heavily before they start writing their book. They come up with the whole plot ahead of time, hence the term plotter. They have it very well organized. A pantser, or the nicer term is a discovery writer, but a pantser, they do like you're flying by the seat of your pants. You don't know what's going to happen before you start writing. You just sit down and you start writing. I think I'm squarely in the middle as a plantser. So part of getting started in your writing journey is figuring out what works for you. Try out some plotting exercises, do some pre-writing, do some character exercises, and you can find so many things on the internet to do this. Sit down with a notebook and have a conversation with your main character. Ask them interview questions. Sit down and interview for them for a podcast. What was their favorite ice cream flavor as a kid? What are they really ticked about right now? What's going on in their life? And just write, just free write. I like to do it on paper because I'm kind of old school and I feel like if I'm typing something, it has to be good already, and writing on paper allows me to be messy. So find a method that lets you be messy. Turn off your editing brain at this, especially at this stage, the discovery stage, the drafting stage, when you're just writing out the story. Turn off your editing brain. You can always fix it later, but you can't fix it if there's nothing to fix. So you got to get it down on the paper first. I think it was Shannon Hale, if you're familiar with the author Shannon Hale, who said that writing a first draft is just piling sand in the sandbox so that later you can make a sandcastle. Your first draft will be messy. It will be rough. That's why they call it a rough draft. That is okay. Just get it down. So play with some drafts or some exercises, as far as coming up with your plot. Sit down and just start writing and see what happens that way too. See what you discover. If you've never written anything before, try out both methods and see what feels more inspiring. I feel like if I try to outline, I don't come up with the ideas that I do when I just let myself write. For Tanked, I had a basic plot outline this time that I was going to try to go with. And I started writing, and then two other characters jumped up in the middle of scenes that completely changed the whole story. Because I'm like, I'm just not a plotter. I just have to let myself make it up as I go, and it's better that way. Sorry, I don't know if that was even helpful. That was really
That's
rambling.
very helpful. I love that I love explaining to us
Mhm.
for writing fiction, because that's where your perspective comes from. Being able to acknowledge that there's two ends of the spectrum in
Yes.
approaching a fiction story, and there's also variations between the two depending if you're more one percentage than the other, or you're
Hmm.
smack in the middle because you go back and forth,
Yeah.
because even your story of your very first chapter that came to you when you were first waking up in the morning, not fully awake. My audience member Kelly, we're very aware about how um, we're connected to a higher power than us, and we'll get
Hmm.
downloads of what you're supposed to be doing, whether it's writing a novel or speaking a story, right? So that when you get those little nudges, and you're supposed to move on them, though you're supposed to do
Yes.
something about it, not just be like,
Yeah.
oh, that's a great idea, and then let it fall out of your head the next minute.
Right. I feel like if you
Pull,
ignore a nudge too long, you stop getting nudged.
yeah, or you get a smack.
Yeah, you get a smack it.
Get a smack. It doesn't feel good. I'd rather get the nudge and then listen and do it, right? Because
Yeah.
every person who's alive, that's basically every single one of you audience members, you have stories to tell, whether they're stories of your life or stories of what you have a passion about that could fall under the category of art,
Hmm.
or even something that's meant to be told no one's ever heard about, that's being downloaded into you now and you need to be paying attention to write about it. I'm going to offer two things for you to consider, audience members. This come up in other interviews. um, Carl Jung, who is very much a person that has helped people recover from trauma, there's an exercise that came of his mode of the world where we believe that the body holds a lot of our answers. And then for me, being a Jew by choice, my soul came to this earth, and then I was provided a body to house my soul, right?
Hmm.
And so the body holds a lot of answers. And if you do left hand, right hand writing, sometimes your body can tell you, are you meant to write a fiction story or a nonfiction story? You can take your dominant hand and write a question. What should I write about? And then put it in your non dominant hand and let it scribble the answer. Sometimes it does not make sense because your body doesn't quite trust you. It's like, what do you mean? Is this a trick question? Do you really want an answer? Because you've never listened to me before when I asked you to, get up and stop eating sugar, like walk around more. So, for example, my son, we've been going to therapy for a long time, and he resisted the left hand, right hand writing for a long, long time, like a year and a half. We didn't fight about it, but we would kind of argue heatedly, louder than a speaking tone. Not yelling ever, but he just was very resistant. And then Kelly, would you know, when he finally first did it, his subconscious immediately answered him in poetry. We're
Mm.
going to publish the poems of all the answers soon.
Oh,
But it was
beautiful.
just astounding. It was legible, and it was poetry. Every single one of his answers has been since. Just I call them downloads from your subconscious. Some people will call you unconscious, like your conversations with God, right? Whatever your method of orienting to a bigger than you idea of source, right?
Mhm.
So you can use that if you want to get up and dance around. Tune into your five senses. My audience has done this before, Kelly. We use dance as a modality to get present in your body, and then if you just bring in breath and all your five senses, you'll get downloads of something that you're supposed to pay attention to. I had a client, we did that, and immediately she thought of her father, and then we had to kind of take apart what things that she was thinking because her father had passed away. But she got a
Oh,
memory of him after she danced when she was tuned into her body. And it
I
was
love
super cool.
that.
It was something that she had to resolve, and it just brought up a memory. So for you, audience, in the storytelling, if you're listening to this particular episode, you're meant to tell a story. You just have to find out what that story's about.
Hmm. I very, very heartily second that. I think everybody has a story to tell, whatever modality you choose to tell it in.
Yes.
And the beautiful thing is, so I published indie, and I think one of the beautiful things about indie is that you can reach a more niche audience that are the people that need your story. Whereas before, big New York traditional publishing, if they didn't feel like there were hundreds of thousands of people that would be the audience for your book, they were much less likely to be interested. And with the rise of indie publishing, all of these stories that we all have can get out there and find the people who are looking for them and find the people who need them that you can help.
Yes. So is indie mean independent publishing?
Independent publishing. Sometimes people say self-publishing. Sometimes when people say indie publishing, they mean like very small presses, like an independent press, as opposed to like a New York press. Um, but it often also just means self-publishing. But
And
I don't really like the term self-publishing as much because of what we were talking about before, is that I'm not doing it by myself. I've got an editor, I've got a cover designer, I have beta readers, I have critique partners, I have my whole family supporting me. I'm not doing it by myself.
oh, I love that. You're right. You're right. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna have to for myself reframe that because I had a publishing company that said, oh, they were publishing me under their company, but it was also more like I was self-publishing because I had to download my book myself on my own Amazon account. They
Mhm.
weren't downloading it for me. Does that make sense? And I
Yeah.
didn't understand that at that time I was actually self-publishing or indie publishing, which is the
Mhm.
big difference, audience members, as you start to, if you're really serious about actually putting a piece of your art out in the world in the form of writing, unless you're going to a formal company that's actually going to do all of the downloading of the book and pushing it out as a book, any other format. If they're like having you open up your own Amazon account to put your book out, you are indie publishing. You're independently publishing. You're self-publishing.
Yes.
I didn't
And
know that.
I would add to that, we talked about this before when we were thinking of having me to come on, that there are numerous companies out there that they go by various terms, hybrid publisher, self-publishing services, and some of them are legit, a great many of them are not. So it's really, really important to do your homework on what constitutes, if you're going to use a self-publishing service, if you are paying a service, do your homework on that service. Um, Two really good questions to ask. What are they doing for you that you can't do by yourself? Because if all you want to do is publish an ebook on Amazon, you do not need to pay anybody to upload that file for you. And the other one is, especially for these self-publishing services or hybrid publishers, who are their repeat customers? Is anybody actually going back to them for a second or third book after publishing their first book with them? Because they'll get testimonials from them while they're still going through the process, and they kind of still have stars in their eyes, and they're not entirely sure what's going on yet and think it's great. But do those people come back and publish their next book with them? So, some research questions to keep in.
Yes, exactly. So it's not that I have anything really. I'm not really upset about the how do I so real talk audience members.
Yeah,
I didn't
please.
know I was self-publishing. I don't care what they call it, if it's hybrid publishing or whatever. Does that make sense? If it's
Mhm.
your own account they're downloading your book onto, you're self-publishing.
Yeah.
Okay, unless it's actually like their company is publishing your book, that's different. And you want to be clear on that, whether they're a legit company. Even if they're a legit company, um, a lot of us were new to it. We don't understand that. We didn't realize that. We thought we were actually being officially published by somebody else. But
Yeah.
you're self-publishing on Amazon if it's being downloaded on your account. Okay,
Mhm.
like has a person who's really new to it. I didn't understand that. I thought they were publishing me until the
Yeah.
very
Oh
end,
my goodness.
and then all of a sudden they're like, "So we're gonna put it on your Amazon account." I'm like, "What? I'm confused. Why is that?"
Oh, and my phone is ringing. Had everything off. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
I'm so sorry.
All right. So
But
remember.
can I add something really fast to
Hmm.
that? So for like trying to figure out, who you're dealing with, traditional publishing, if you're saying, oh, this company is publishing me, they should be paying you. Even if they don't give you an advance, a very small publisher can be legit and still not give an advance. They should still be giving you royalties, and there should be a contract. If you are paying them, you are indie publishing or hybrid publishing. If you are working with a hybrid publisher, buy your own ISBN. ISBN is International Standard Book Number, and it's the little number on the back of the QR code, or not QR code. What's it called? The little thing on the back of the book. This thing. Ooh, where's my?
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not showing that very well.
The QR
The
code
words
thing.
out of my head, not the QR
Yeah.
code, the
I think
scanning code.
yeah, I have one of those. I think they
Yeah.
brought it for me, but
Yeah.
it was still my I was still indie publishing, and I just did not realize that.
Yeah. But often, if they own the ISBN, technically they are the publisher. So if
Ah,
they are technically the publisher, but they're making you do all the work and you're paying them, like it can get tricky with rights, like down the road, who owns the rights and stuff. So these are some things to watch out for with whatever there can be perfectly legitimate hybrid publishers. It depends on what you want out of them, which parts of all the jobs, basically, the publishing jobs that you want to do yourself or don't want to do yourself. So there's no one right way to do it. But definitely do your research on the red flags of some of these companies and what really you're signing.
yeah. What is one or two companies you recommend that are hybrid, that are not, that are good, that are trustworthy?
I honestly don't have any right now. Um, if you are going indie, like career wise, there is a group called the Alliance of Independent Authors that I would very highly recommend joining. And I'm so sorry, I live near the Air Force Base and they always fly over when we're recording something.
I
So
can't
I'm
hear anything.
sorry.
Don't worry about
Okay,
it.
good. Hopefully
It's all
that
good.
doesn't come through.
Yeah.
Every time Russ films his YouTube videos, they all fly overhead. But
They
they
planned
know
that
it's
one.
on.
I'm
They do.
sorry.
They do.
Yeah, yeah. They have something that they know. Whenever Russ is recording, they will deliberately fly their planes over.
They so do.
That's what they. My dogs usually go crazy. Like that's when the UPS guy or Amazon does a delivery during
Right?
a
Yeah. They want to be
podcast.
on the
So,
show too.
of course, I mean,
Yeah.
who wouldn't want to be a
Who
part of this
wouldn't?
conversation?
Yes.
You know,
Um,
so I think the biggest thing though is audience. It may serve you to pay someone to help you
it might.
self-publish or indie publish.
Mhm.
Just understand the difference. And that's a big thing that I wish someone, because the people I went with, I had 5 referrals and a repeat customer. And I
Mhm.
still didn't know I was indie publishing. Like, even though, you know what I mean? Like, it was
Mhm.
just really interesting because I can go back to my own portal on Amazon and shift everything, reload my edited book if I wanted to. So I own all the rights to that. But I didn't know that that's what I was doing. I thought they were,
Yeah.
and I paid them money. So by your definition, I was independently publishing, and I just
Mhm.
didn't know that.
Yes. Yes. But Alliance of Independent Authors, um, it's a worldwide organization. They have fantastic helps and benefits for independent authors, indie authors. Um, along this lines, one of those is a vetted list of services that they
It,
approve.
is this for any type of author?
It's an organization for indie authors, self-published authors, indie authors. Um, I mean, you could join it if you were traditionally published, but it wouldn't be a whole lot of help to you because it's made for what indie authors need. They do have a podcast, self-publishing advice podcast that's really fantastic. If you're thinking of getting into indie podcasts, go check that out.
I love that. And so what I meant was, if I'm an author of nonfiction, could I still
Oh,
join it?
yes, absolutely. All genres, fiction, nonfiction, everything.
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay, I wanted to do their families because, like, my son and daughter also write fiction stories.
Yay.
So, we also be like, do you have a family membership?
Ask them. I don't actually know. That's a good question.
Yeah,
Find
um,
out. Yeah. Let
yeah,
me know.
yeah. I'll let you know. So, audience members, the Alliance
Of,
independentauthors.org,
yeah.
O-R-G. But if you type in the Alliance of Independent Authors, you'll still get the same website, and check that out. That's really like priceless advice right there, Kelly. I kind of wish I'd known about that before I actually started exploring, because I struggled with having authority in the field when I knew what I was doing was working.
Mhm.
And I will say that the guidance I got in writing my book about it being a love letter to me after I was done with treatment, it really shifted my perspective. And I mean, I know your book is a love letter to everybody who wants healing, like in community. Stop being in isolation.
Yeah. I think that's all of us right now, right? Even still a few years after everything that went down with COVID, I feel like as a species and as a society, we're still working through that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, Kelly, I was just at TEDx Salt Lake City last night, and one of the speakers who's phenomenal, local to us here in Salt Lake. All the speakers have to be from Salt Lake City for this TEDx talk, and she was talking about the stress the entire planet survives through, and now also because the TEDx is about climate change. We're part of the big
Mm.
TED global countdown, and she was talking about how climate change is affecting everyone else's like all of our nervous systems are being affected by the climate change right now. So
I want to watch that one when it
you're
comes
gonna love that
out.
one. I
Yes.
mean, I highly recommend it. We have some amazing people here in Salt Lake City, so if you're audience member, you ever want to come, we're probably gonna be launching Raw Epiphany back, my nonprofit. So that's probably coming back with a new twist
Ooh,
because life is a dance, y'all. So
that's really exciting news for me. I didn't know that part. Yeah, well, before we
yeah,
started
yeah, yeah. When this episode launches, it's probably when we're gonna start talking about bringing it back, possibly to like very small scale in 2026, and then larger scale going forward. Because I've met some really interesting that will help our creative community grow. And basically, it's anybody who is alive. You're creative. Sorry.
yeah.
It's like I'm not niching down with this one, y'all. I refuse to. Like if you're alive, you're welcome to come to this event. Kelly, thank you so much for coming. I really enjoyed our conversation today.
Oh, me too. Thank you so much, Jenny. I love talking to you. It's such a treat.
I love dancing with you. I miss that. We have to
Yes.
like make our troop leader come back. She has no intention of coming back. I don't
I
care.
know. No, I think we've lost her. Sad, sad, sad day.
That's a big loss for our community.
It really
Um,
was.
so my audience members, remember Kelly's book is out now. You can get your hands on it, and you can get on her website. Sorry, her email list by going to her website. Okay. We
Yep.
will see you all next time. Bye bye. Thanks for listening to the Dance to Heal podcast with Jenny C. Cohen. Come back next time to hear stories of inspiring triumph and learn more ways that you can heal yourself. To work with me and continue your journey, visit danceandheal.com. Are you ready to move?